Hello and welcome in the first installment of breaking news. This time a little late, but I'm here to report on Trackmania World Tour Rulebook being updated recently. If you are not living under a rock in Trackmania World, then you would know the Trackmania World Tour is coming, and it is coming fast. The rulebook has been publicly available for quite some time, and I even made a simplified version of it on Twitter with the most important parts in it, so you can go check that out maybe after this video. But recently that rulebook got some updates, and I think one of them is very important. First, the pick and ban phase of best of 1 and best of 5 matches have been corrected. As we can see here in the comparison graphic, the best of 1 pick and ban phase has been previously composed of 10 bans and a decider map, but well, with 10 maps in the pool, this is obviously incorrect. So now the pick and ban phase starts with a Team A ban and also ends with a Team A ban, forcing a decider map after 9 bans. Best of 5 has also been corrected, but this time we can see that at the end there is not a decider map, it says randomized, which means that there are more than one map left to choose from, in this scenario 2, and instead of one team picking or banning one of them will be just picked out randomly by the organization, organizer. Another update is a concern to players that want to compete in regional tournaments. Rulebook now says that the number of teams competing has to be either 32, 64, 128, 256 or 512. The number of teams allowed to participate will be predetermined by the amount of teams that have registered. The limit can be extended if amount of registered teams is more than halfway through to the next cutoff point. So to make it clearer, they gave us some examples. So one of them is if there are 134 teams registered, then the tournament will be played with a 128 teams limit. Because it is below 192, which is the half point between 128 and 256. If, for example, there are 96 teams registered, then it is halfway point between 64 and 128, so the tournament will be played with a 128 team limit. In that case, if the limit is extended, then then some teams will just get some free match advancements at the beginning of the bracket. But if there are not enough teams to extend the limit, then I assume that some teams will just not be allowed to play in the regionals. Probably the ones that have registered the last. So that is just my assumption. That is not specifically said in the rulebook, but there's nothing specifically said in the rulebook to determine what will happen to those teams that are over the limit. But for now, that is the only explanation I can give. The last and most important update tells us about the situation when one organization has more than one duo to represent them. At the beginning, there was a full-out ban on the multiple duos in the same region, and for duos from the same organization to compete would have to make some very weird, confusing maneuvers, like competing under the fake name or something like that. To be honest, it was a very confusing and long discussion on that topic, and at the end, some things were still just unclear. So it's good that the changes have been made, and I think those are changes for the better, and they are way more understandable right now. So now when organization can field more than one duo in the region. Actually, they can have as many licenses as they want, so they can have as many teams as they want. But if those teams would be to face each other in an international event, then the organization has to pick only one roster to represent them. The other team would have only two options: either withdraw from the tournament completely, or there's an option to transfer the license to another organization that doesn't have a team, that doesn't have a duo in that tournament at hand. But I assume, since the organization is the license holder for all of those teams, then they have the final decision on what happens to the team that wasn't picked by them for this tournament. But if this would happen during a promotion relegation tournament, then it's just a little different. The processes are the same. The organization again picks the roster they wanted to represent them, and the team that was left out has again the same two options. But now, if the transfer of license happens, then it gets really interesting, because if the team that wasn't picked and got their license transferred to another organization, so they are now representing another organization, if they promote to the league, TMCL is the only league right now that has the promotion relegation system. If they promote to TMCL, then the transfer is not refundable. They cannot reverse the license transfer. So this license stays with the new organization, and the duo stays with the new organization. So the original license holder is not anymore entitled to a representation in that league. So that duo is no longer theirs, and it is not reversible. So yeah, those are the updates to the rulebook. That is probably the final version of the rulebook we will see before the start of the season. There's not much time, only about a week, so I'm pretty confident in that. If you have any questions regarding the rulebook, either the updates that have happened just now, or any other rulebook section that you are confused about, you can ask in the comments below. I will answer to the best of my ability. You can also go ahead and read my thread on Twitter about the rulebook, where I point out the most important things. Link will be down in the description. And well, if you enjoyed, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe for maybe more breaking news in the future, but also interviews that will be coming out pretty soon. So you can go ahead and subscribe to be informed about them. And of course, thanks for watching. Again, see you in the next one.